happy Wednesday. Well, it's not a happy Wednesday actually, because it's absolutely been throwing it down. I don't mean little bitty, I mean throwing it down, bucketing it down. So I didn't go to knit club. My daughter-in-law did offer me a lift to go down to Cleveley's, but oh gosh, it was raining so much. Yeah, so much. The reason I'm still wearing this sweater is I was asked by somebody, again, don't know the pattern, no idea. I made it about 8 years ago, so the lady who asked me could I give her a link to the pattern, sorry, but no idea what it is. And another lady asked me for a full length picture of it. Why? I don't know, because I've got no pattern. But if she's very good at copying, she's very good at making things up as she goes along, then I will have a little catwalk for her and show her. This is the full length. If you want to know the skirt I'm wearing, it's gorgeous, it's warm, it's woolly, and it came from Moonbeams and Mayhem, and I've just ordered myself another one, hopefully in a different colour. I did tell her that I'd bought this one, but it was a bit difficult to describe. So she had one in reds and blues, so I'm hoping that is the next one that I get. As you can see, it's got a waist detail, which is nice if you have a waist. And it has sort of baggy sleeves with a tight cuff, but I have absolutely no idea what the pattern is or was. As you know, when I moved here, I had to jettison so much of my stuff. And a lot of my books, booklets, whatever, I have a feeling it was in a booklet. They just went. They just went to the four winds. No, not where. Yeah. The pattern I showed you yesterday, the one that's showing all in blue, it's called the Ceylon Tea Shawl by Red Teapot Atelier. It's a pattern, it's not a free one, it's off Ravelry. I think it was about £5. I don't know what that is in dollars, I'm not up with it at the moment. Anyway, I did start it last night. Ooh, with my cake. Fluffy. And despite it being in split sort of layers, I'm actually crocheting this a lot better than I'm crocheting the other one. Right, this is what I've got so far. Not very much. I'm still only on the yellow bit. It will look completely different, of course, once it's blocked. But it is coming up quite fluffy. So it's quite nice. I'm actually considering, being as I've got 5 of these cakes, making myself a hexagon jacket, because I do like the colours. You know, those campfire cardigans. Because in actual fact it looks thin, but it's working up quite warm and fluffy. But I won't be starting that until after I've finished doing things for the craft fair. I'm still ploughing on with this. I'm still only on the second colour. It's very splitty, this. Now, the other cakes I've used haven't been. But this one is just split. So it's getting on my nerves a little bit. Anyway, I'm up to that bit now. I think I'd started on the brown bit before. So I've just been watching a few YouTube videos is what I've been doing today. Sitting here. It's actually stopped raining at this moment in time. But, oh, if I can turn the camera around a bit. I don't know whether you can see, we've got a lake where the front garden is. We are waiting, we are saving up to get the front done with tarmac, as we call it. I don't know what you call it, bitumen. But other things keep happening, and that keeps putting on the back burner. Yeah, those are my elephants. I love elephants. I got those 3 for Christmas off my family. I got that elephant from my friend June. The little angel with wings here. Oh, you can see him or not. Her. I got from my niece when my dog Buster passed away. Yeah. And the Swan was my mum's. I rescued it from mum's when she passed away. That was hers. And the this, my brother bought it from my mum back from one of his journeys. I think it was from Florence. It's very heavy. It's a paperweight. My poor little plants are not doing very well, I'm afraid to say, but never mind, eh? Never mind. I never was much of a plant person. I don't really have the green finger, or whatever you want to call it. I've got more like the brown thumb. Oh dear. Anyway, I just thought I'd do a... Oh, I nearly missed the chair. As you can see, I'm looking at things on the PC. So I'll turn it around so you don't have to look at the PC. I am going to go to the evening knit club because I have been promised a lift by Susan. If you're watching, hi Susan. She has promised me a lift if it's raining. I tell you, this next 2 weeks cannot pass fast enough for me to get my scooter with a top on. If it's going to be like this, rain and more rain, you know. I don't mind fine rain, but I don't like the boom. Especially, you know, this loaned scooter is not 100% reliable. Oh, and I've got another little message. What does it say? Oh, learn how yarn can kill birds. Well, yeah, we all know that. They can get it fast round the little feet and they can swallow it. So I don't think that's new news, if you know what I mean. Because some people used to throw yarn scraps out for the birds to make nests, but it's not a good idea because it winds itself around their little feet and it can cut off the circulation. And also they might think it's a worm and try to swallow it, so it's not a good idea. So don't put your yarn scraps out for the birdies. What else? I haven't done anything much at all. I am completely and utterly demotivated. I'm trying my hardest because I know the craft fair's coming up. And I thought I'll go into the shed, but when you have to sort of, you know, paddle across wet grass, it doesn't inspire, does it, you know? Perhaps I need a walkway. I don't think that would go down very well with the family if I suggested that I had a polytunnel, you know, that I could walk through to get to my shed. Normally it's not too bad. I am going to inquire. My family did inquire about getting some, but they never arrived. They were like little stepping stones that look like little dog paws. You know, they're not big, just enough to put your foot on so you don't have to walk on wet grass. But they never arrived, and so maybe I should look into that again. I've got some logs coming. They were supposed to be delivered this Thursday, but the guy was messing about. Putting the price up here, saying he couldn't deliver one lot, he'd have to deliver two. Well, that would have been a really big expense to pay out for 2 lots to be delivered. Anyway, we found another guy. Who lives more local. So he's coming next Wednesday. We do have logs at the moment, yeah, but we wanted to get a regular place, because I just keep bringing little bags of logs home in a net, you know, from B&M, and they don't even last a couple of days, and I can only fit 1 bag on my scooter, I can't fit 2. So we wanted somebody that would deliver a bigger amount, yeah. So anyway, all will be revealed next Wednesday when he brings it, and how many we get for the money. You know, whether it's sort of cheaper than putting the heating on. Oh, I don't know how you're doing in America, but in Britain we're getting a bit scared of putting the heating on. It's getting... I mean, fortunately, we're not in the stage where we can't heat and eat. But there must be a heck of a lot of people in the UK that are on a very, very limited budget. I mean, to be honest, I don't know. I would have had to pull my horns in a lot. That means cut back on things. If I just still lived on my own in the big house in Prestwich. You know, it would have been, my bills would have rocketed up for the heating. It was a very warm house, even though it was a big house. It was well insulated, and it kept its heat because the sun used to come in at the back in the morning and the sun used to shine in the front in the afternoon. Here, sadly, my lounge does not see any sun at all. None at all. Doesn't even remotely shine in here at all. I don't know why. Anyway, we're having a swap round. I think I said on my last video we're having a switch around, and we're going to start being in the conservatory because even on a cooler day it's still warmer because it's all glass. It's got an insulated roof, so it's not, you know, the heat doesn't escape through a glass roof. So it's going to be warmer for us to use that as the lounge in the winter, yeah? So we'll see how we go from then on in. But as I say, it's got no, I can't show you at the minute because it's got no furniture. We are going to get, this is why the drive doesn't get done, is because other incidentals keep cropping up. You know the score, don't you? You've got a house, you never stop paying for things. If one thing goes, you have to get another thing, don't you? Then another thing goes, and another, you know. And it goes on and on. Anyway, the furniture has been swapped around. The downstairs furniture is now upstairs. That was my family's furniture when they lived in their other house. You might have seen it on my very early videos when I moved here, because I had it in here because I didn't have a sofa back then. And it's got recliners. It's imitation leather, pleather, do they call it, pleather? And it reclines, and they can both recline, whereas the one they bought had footstools, so they had to and they couldn't recline back, if you know what I mean. So I think that's probably why they swapped it, because they do like to watch TV in a recumbent position. You know, they're not crafters like me who has to sit upright. Mind you, this chair of mine does go, ooh, I'm going up in the world. No, down in the world, I should say. Let's hope it doesn't hit it's going to hit the thing. Woo. And it goes back like that. It doesn't go all the way back, you know. My old recliner, if you watch Facebook today, there's a picture of my darling Buster sitting on our chair. It was a much, much bigger, oh, I'm going up in the world now. It was a much, much bigger recliner than this one is, and we both used to sit on it, and he used to look out the window, and, you know, he used to check all the passers-by and let me know if there was any postmen around, or people in high-vis jackets, because he hated high-vis jackets. He had a thing about anybody wearing a high-vis jacket. He went bonkers when he saw them. Postmen, high-vis jackets. No, didn't like them. And yeah, we used to sit on this great big recliner. I mean, when I had Gigi as well, you know, there used to be 3 of us on that recliner. I had Buster at the back of me. I mean, there wouldn't be room on here, but I used to have Buster at the back of me, Gigi at the front of me, and I'd be trying to crochet over the top of Gigi and watch the TV at the same time. But surprisingly enough, it used to work. We all fitted on together. Gigi sometimes would come at the side of me here. And but the chair, sadly, it made the journey, but it wasn't its best when it got here. One of the arms was a bit sort of bent outwards. I don't know what happened with the removal men. Anyway, we gave it away in the end to a 90-odd-year-old man who was having difficulties, because it used to rise up like this one is rising up. It's not the poltergeist, it's me rising up the chair. So he was having difficulty getting out of his chair, and it was a bit, not knackered, but it was past its best. But they didn't mind, it was free, and it was going to a 90-year-old who was having difficulty getting in and out of his chair. So anyway, so I'm just hoping poor Declan, who pushed me all the way home yesterday, was it yesterday? No, yeah, no, it was Monday, wasn't it? Monday. I just hope he's recovered, poor soul. Hope he's not done his back in or anything like that. My son's done his back in, by the way. I think it was lugging all that furniture about on Monday that did it. Anyway, back to the furniture situation. I will let you know when we get it finished, and I will show you around. I don't often do videos like showing me around the house and that. It's not that I'm ashamed of it or anything, but I don't often do them. It's not something that I do, you know, like, hey, look at my furniture, hey, look at them. Because we've had nothing new really since I moved in, yeah. So I've got like, oh, I've got a new whatever. All I get new is wool. But don't tell anybody. The skein of yarn hasn't, oh, little doggy going for a walk. They must be creeping out before the rain starts. Me skein of yarn that I ordered when I saw it off, not quite enough yarn, is it Leslie? Showed me this skein of yarn, but my excuse is that when I went to Yarndale I intended to treat myself to one skein of hand-dyed yarn, and I didn't, yeah, so I have bought one from Etsy. It's called Floof Yarns. I'll show it you when it arrives, yeah. And yesterday I did watch Little Drops of Wonderful, is it Ali? She went to Ali Pally, Alexander Palace. She went to the Knitting and Stitching show. I went to one of those a few years back, and it was a little bit disappointing as far as the sort of crochet knit side of it was concerned, because it was nearly all to do with card making. Now that's not knitting and stitching. So I was really disappointed with the last one I went to, because it was all card making. And if you're not into card making, it's very boring, isn't it, going past stall after stall after stall. Anyway, I don't know whether it was any better this time, because like with Ali only being a knitter or a crocheter, she just concentrated on what was, you know, the wool. But it was an interesting video. I do like watching her when she goes out and about. I did put a video on my Facebook where she came to Blackpool because she wanted to see the Tower Ballroom, where they have Strictly Come Dancing, Strictly Ballroom is it called. And then she went to Mrs Johnson's Emporium, which, although it's in Blackpool, I've never been there yet. It looks like a wonderful knitting shop, but I mean, two of my friends, Sarah and Shane, we are going to go, but maybe not just yet, because Shane's got to go in hospital for a couple of things. So when she's fit and back out again, we might plan a trip. Because even if we have to get a taxi, we can share it 3 ways. It's not too bad, is it, you know? We'll see how it goes, or whether we can persuade Sarah's husband to not scream and throw himself on the floor in a tantrum, because he kind of doesn't like going in the wool shops. Wonder why? Wonder why husbands don't like accompanying them into a wool shop. It's not like we spend 7 hours in there, is it? It's not that we look at every bit of wool that's in there, is it? At least not that we spend too much, is it? I'm fortunate. I have yarn police, but they're called my son and my daughter-in-law. But I do manage to sneak things in. They don't watch my videos, so I'm okay. But I don't have a husband anymore that says, oh, what's that? With him it was mostly clothes. I had to sneak them in. I used to leave things in the boot of my car until he went to play badminton or squash or whatever he used to play back in the day. And then I used to bring them out and stick them in the wardrobe. And we had separate wardrobes, so he had his, I had mine. And then I'd bring it out and he'd say, I haven't seen that before. And I said, of course you have, I've had it ages. I don't think he ever believed me. But he was a bit on the tight side. Yeah. I could have a new washing machine or a new fridge freezer if it broke down. But if I said I wanted a pair of shoes, he was like, you've got shoes. What do you want another pair of shoes for? But back in the day when I could wear nice shoes, when I didn't have the backy shoes, the knee shoes, and I could wear a heel, I used to love the pretty high heels and sandals, and I used to have them in every different colour. I'd want to match every outfit I had practically. I was like Imelda Marcos in the bottom of my wardrobe. There were shoes and more shoes. It broke my heart when I had to I donated them to, I think I've mentioned it before, a women's refuge. I rang them up and I said, I've got loads and loads of shoes, but they're all high heels. They're all like going out shoes or business shoes, because I had a lot of court shoes with high heels that I wore for work. So I've also got a lot of business suits, I've got a lot of trouser suits, I've got a lot of blouses which I will never wear again because I've retired and I don't wear formal things anymore. Oh, yes please. I said, well, can somebody pick them up? Because I didn't have a car. Oh, well, I don't know. I'll have to ask one of the volunteers if that's a... Well, I said, there's rather a lot. I said, I just, can't even get a taxi because, I just fill a taxi. Oh, right, well, we'll see what we can do. Anyway, this volunteer came and I said, they're all in the garage. So he's like, luckily he had like an estate car. He's carrying these bags out, carrying these black bin bags. I don't mean little bags, I mean black bin bags. And he said, you weren't joking, love, were you? Have you got anything left in your wardrobe? I went, yes, I've still got plenty left in the wardrobe. I think it was about 13 bin bags he carried out. But apparently this refuge, where people flee when they're battered wives, etc. and all that, they're usually fleeing from domestic violence, aren't they? And they said, oh yes, we need smart clothing because when they go for job interviews, etc., they don't, literally they flee, don't mean what they stand up in. They don't have any clothes of any description. Yeah. Because when I was leaving, I actually donated as well to a mother and baby unit, blankets and a Moses basket and something else that I'd been using for display purposes when I had the Etsy shop. And I donated them to a mother and baby unit. So that's where a lot of my stuff went. My patterns, I donated a lot of them to a friend. I said, do what you want with them, look through them, sell them, I don't care. All my magazines, well, most of the magazines went up to Sue in Scotland. I said, you can sell them, do what you want with them. I just had to get rid of them. So I think this is where the pattern went, somewhere in the midst of all of that, the pattern. I have some patterns in the shed, but I've got like one tote, plastic tote with all the patterns in. And when you consider I must have had about 6 of these totes full of patterns before I left, I'm now down to 1. So you can understand why I can't find any of the old patterns, because I must have had this, I should say, a good 8 years, something like that. When you make your own things, you don't wear them out, do you? You keep wearing them, and then you don't wear them for about a year, and then you find them at the back of the wardrobe, which is what happened with this. And then you think, oh, I haven't worn that. And it goes nicely with my skirt, because my skirt's got all colours in it and a bit of turquoise in it. You can see a bit of turquoise in it. So I thought, oh, it'll go nicely with that skirt. And I'm trying to dress warmly because, like, we're trying not to put the heating on us. It's high or whatever. Anyway, I've done about 20 minutes, which isn't bad considering I was only coming on to show somebody how I look like when I stood up, full length. In this sweater, there is no pattern for. I said that before, but a lady still asked me. But there is no pattern. I have no clue what it was. I don't even remember. I can't give you any clues. I'm sorry, I just can't. It's gone with the wind. So I'll try not to wear it again and annoy you. But bear in mind, a lot of the things I might put on, I don't have the pattern for anymore because of the circumstances I've described. Moving from a 3-bedroom house to a bungalow that I share with my family. So many things just didn't make it. They didn't make the cut, as they say. Anyway, the rain has actually stopped, but I don't know whether I feel like getting wet tonight. I can't take my scooter indoors where I go. It's like a glorified Boy Scout hut. But you go up a ramp like that, and then it's a sharp turn and a sharp turn. So a wheelchair struggles to make it round. It's very badly designed considering elderly people use it, yeah. I'm sure they could have put the doorway or the ramp somewhere where, if I could have gone up the ramp and turned straight into the big room, I could have took the scooter in. But you go up the big ramp and you turn, and then there's like a little hallway where the toilet is, and then you just have to go round another corner to get through a doorway. I suppose when they designed it, they thought about wheelchairs because there is a ramp. But they didn't think about the accessibility, about doing a 3-point turn. I mean, we have a lady in a wheelchair that goes there and she has to do like about a 6-point turn. Well, her husband has to do about a 6-point turn to get her in there. So my scooter has to stay outside. And even though I cover it up, the cover always dips in the middle and there's always like a great big pool, like a swimming pool. Oh, roll on the next 2 or 3 weeks when I can get that other scooter. Because this one, this loaned scooter, which I said I'd keep for the time being, it's not the best. I mean, you know, it broke down on me. So I'm a bit about trusting it anymore. Although I do think it was the battery that was shot, so we'll see what happens next. Anyway, I'm going to go and try and do a bit more on one of the shawls, see if there's anything more interesting than Michael Portillo on his great rail journeys, which I seem to be watching about for the 7th time. It's either that or it's cookery programmes. My son did put Netflix or something on, but I can never find my way around. You have to change the channel on the telly to find it, you know. It wasn't so bad when I had Freeview, I could find that. But I don't know what I've got now, whether I've got Freeview or Netflix or what the heck I've got. But I don't watch films anyway. I cannot sit still long enough to watch a film. I know you can stop and start them, but I get fidgety. It has to be a very, very good film for me to sit and watch it all the way through. 2 hours of anything is my maximum, you know. I can watch something like the Agatha Christie, which I'm interested in, or, you know, even Vera for the 17th time. But I'm not into films. These days films are all noise and gore and whatever. I just don't like modern films at all. I just can't watch them anymore. People are saying, oh, this is a good film, and it's all bang, bang, boom, boom, bang, boom. Things getting blown up, people getting shot, and I'm like, nah, I don't want to watch that now. I'm old-fashioned. I'd rather watch things like Calamity Jane and Kiss Me Kate and stuff like that. Oh, Angela Lansbury died. I don't know if it's today or yesterday. Oh, bless. Similar age to the Queen, wasn't she, 96? I can still sit and watch Murder, She Wrote, even though I've watched all of them before. But things like that I will sit and I will watch. They're more my thing. But as for reality shows, keep them. Or your Love Island and your I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here and all that. SH1T. Nah. I'm like, who's the celebrity? You know, you're like looking at it wondering who's who. And you're thinking, I don't know any of them. Who are they? Although I think Mike Tyndall's in one, in this coming up one. I mean, that's Zara Phillips' husband, which is Princess Anne's daughter. I think he's in one. Because it's saying a member of royalty is in. I thought, well, he's not exactly royalty. He's sort of related in a way. His mother-in-law is royalty, but he's not. I mean, even Zara Phillips never had, Princess Anne never wanted a title for her, you know. Which is why I can't understand Harry and what's it wanting titles for theirs. What's the point? They're not working royals, they don't deserve them. Come back to England, do your duty and you might get a title. That's my attitude. Sorry if people don't agree with me, but he's left. He's gone. Bye-bye. Yeah. Don't bother coming back unless you're prepared to do your duties. If you're not prepared to do your duties, stay in America. I don't care. And I'm not going to buy his new book if it ever comes out. Who wants to watch that? Read that dross. Or watch her on her Spotify, whatever the heck she does. Droning on and on. Sorry. Maybe I'm not popular when I say things like that, but no. I don't find her interesting. I don't find her ideas interesting. I don't find her attitude interesting. But when I've got another message, which will be